when Mr. Trump, whether you love him or hate him, this was the beginning of the greatest transformation of wealth the world since World War II. See, I know what he was going to do. I know what he's going to do now. And he hasn't even got started. Now, what are you going to tell your kids and your grandkids 25 years from now when they say, gee, Daddy, gee, Grandpa, what were you doing other than during the greatest transformation of wealth in the history of the world? That's what most of you will tell them, your grandchildren and your children. It's never going to get any better than this, kids. This is as I said on YouTube, the eye of the storm. This is it. I never thought I'd live to see it again. This is going to make the 80s look like a nursery rhyme, which I praise Allah, praise Buddha, praise God. I participated in slashing and raping everybody in the 80s, legally. This is going to make that. And what are you going to tell your kids? Oh, I had to spreadsheet it. I had to think about it. I had to read another book on M&A.
Election surge in the cryptocurrency markets. And what may be driving it, ABC's Alexis Christoforous is here with details. We are excited to hear about this one, Alexis.
Yeah, Bitcoin has been on this, defying gravity kind of run. It's been a spectacular run. I just want to start with Bitcoin because that gives us a good example. It's now at $91,000. Less than 2 weeks ago, it was at $68,000. Wow. So up 34% just since the election.
Are you expecting to close down entire agencies like President Trump has talked about the Department of Education, for example? Are you going to be closing down departments?
We expect mass reductions. We expect certain agencies to be deleted outright. We expect mass reductions in force in areas of the federal government that are bloated. We expect massive cuts among federal contractors and others who are overbilling the federal government. So, yes, we expect all of the above. And I think people will be surprised by, how quickly we're able to move with some of those changes, given the legal backdrop the Supreme Court has given us.
Have you thought about moving some of these departments or agencies out of Washington?
It's funny you bring up this point. Yes is the answer, but here's why. They'll say, well, what happens to the people who live in Washington, D.C.? Here's the dirty little secret in the federal bureaucracy today. Most people don't even show up to work. So if you require most of those federal bureaucrats to just say, like normal working Americans, you come to work 5 days a week, a lot of them won't want to do that. And by the way, that creates a logic for many of those agencies being outside of D.C. in the first place. So these are, again, examples. It's a great point you just brought up.
So would you
sweeping
move,
changes we're able to make quickly.
You could move the Energy Department to Texas or to Pennsylvania. You could move agriculture somewhere else. Is that what you're thinking?
Well, look, I think that, yes, absolutely. But I think even bigger picture than that, many of these agencies should be downsized wherever they are. And for whatever does remain, move many of them out to be where they're more accountable to the people. And by the way, if you have many voluntary reductions in force of the workforce in the federal government along the way, great. That's a good side effect of those policies as well. And so our goal is not to be cruel, by the way, to the individual federal employees. Most of them, I do want to say this, are individually good people, and we want to be compassionate and generous in how we handle this transition. But the real issue is there's just too many of them. We don't need 4 million, and we shouldn't have 4 million civil servants who can't be or aren't even elected or can't be removed from their positions. It's anti-democratic.
Right out here. Look, $2 trillion. I stand corrected.
No, I want to be very clear about the scale. I want to be very clear about the scale that we're thinking here. We're not thinking small. We're playing big here because we have a once-in-a-generation mandate right now. The American people have voted for drastic reform of the government, and our federal government is broken. It's no secret that it is a fourth branch of government, the administrative state that makes most of the rules, that creates a federal bureaucracy that's hampering our economy. So what do we want to do? We want to go in and slash and burn that bureaucracy to help Americans, stimulate the economy, and to restore self-governance again, Sean. The people we elect to run the government, they're not even the ones who run the government anymore. It's these unelected bureaucrats. Republican politicians have talked about fixing this for a long time, not with a lot of progress. So I do think it's going to take a couple of outsiders. Elon and I have built a great friendship over the last year. We're working together intensely, and we're not going to stop till we get the job done.
Welcome to the Crypto Teacher. And you know I come back with that video just to make you think.
Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel.
And make sure you join the Patrons. If you're not a part of the Patrons, make sure you're hitting the Cash App. And also, guys, make sure you go like and follow the TikTok. More videos to come. And when we go back to Dan Pena, talking about when Trump was in his first term, the greatest transfer of wealth in history, and guess what? It's still going on. And now Trump is back. And Trump has put Bitcoin back on the main stage. We have Bitcoin on Good Morning America. And the light is being shed on Bitcoin and crypto, but this time is not leaving. And we have Vivek on closing down agencies and mass reduction plus cuts to the federal government. And what did he say? The Supreme Court has given us clearance. Yes, we know we're going to have mass layoffs. And remember, Elon said there's going to be a lot of pain. And unfortunately, the people know nothing about this fourth industrial revolution because, of course, they stay distracted on things that don't matter. And I told you in 2025, the NWO is going to start bringing down that curtain. So therefore, the sheep get a peek of this new digital economy. And we have food delivery in India. And yes, they're using it through an app the same way in America, but the goal is for these robots and drones to do the delivery. It doesn't matter what country you go to. They all have a plan for this fourth industrial revolution, where the robots, algorithms, and drones take the economy over, pay each other with crypto, and the sheep go inside the metaverse. And remember, the crypto teacher told you, because he knows when it comes to the NWO, it's all planned out. You have a wonderful day.
Is taking a swing at India's red-hot stock market with a $1.3 billion IPO. The e-commerce company is in the business of lightning-fast grocery and food deliveries, faster than DoorDash in the US. So we are going to put it to the test. It is now 9 a.m. in Mumbai, and I'm placing an order for cottage cheese and hand wash on Swiggy's Instamart app. Next, the order goes to one of Swiggy's dark stores. There are many warehouses positioned across neighborhoods. There are nearly 600 of them across major Indian cities, and they help make Swiggy nimbler on deliveries. Employees here are trained to quickly pack the goods and hand them over to gig workers who are on standby at the dark store. The items then make their way to the customer's doorstep. Mine arrived in about 8 minutes. But as Swiggy's workers race to deliver the goods, complaints are piling up over missed deliveries or meals that arrived cold. Its business model also relies on hundreds of thousands of gig workers whose contracts and welfare are being scrutinized by labor groups calling for more regulation. Swiggy's IPO comes at a time when India's stock market is sizzling, but inflation and unemployment are also starting to sap consumer sentiment. Still, quick commerce could skyrocket into a $53 billion market by 2028 from $2.8 billion last year.
Going to a different economy, and we're going to be learning more about that as we go, but clearly we're learning that things can be done from remote locations. We're learning that technology can replace people even more than we thought.
We're not going back to the same economy. We're recovering, but to a different economy, and it'll be one that is more leveraged to technology. And I worry that that is going to make it even more difficult than it was for many workers.
In Silicon Valley, and my friends who work in technology know that what we did to the manufacturing workers, we are now going to do to the retail workers, the call center workers, the fast food workers, the truck drivers, and then even bookkeepers, accountants, insurance agents, lawyers, and on through the economy. So what happened to the manufacturing workers is a very clear sign.
And so we'll import Chinese-based CBDC technology. So it's going to be CBDC in a box provided to you by the People's Bank of China.
But every stock, every bond, every currency, every commodity, every piece of art, every private business, every piece of real estate will eventually be a token on a blockchain, an entry on a ledger, permanent and immutable. We will have truth instead of trust, and we will save over $7 trillion a year. 6 to 8% of global GDP is wasted by the friction of the trust industry that's necessary when you have dual entry accounting. With triple entry accounting, which is what a blockchain is, we get rid of all of that friction. It's a beautiful future.
Like what you see in China and their social credit scoring systems, right? If we get identity wrong, it could be a tool to enslave humanity. And if we get it right, it could be a tool to liberate humanity. And as an American, I'm obviously rooting for the one that's on the side of freedom.
Bitcoin is an international asset. And also, I do believe the role of crypto is it's digitizing gold.
I actually believe this technology is going to be very important. Look at it. We have been part of a huge revolution in investing through ETFs. We believe that ETFs will be changing the whole way we invest. Many people still use it as a means, people are investing it for indexing. No, the majority of people who are putting money in in ETFs are active investors that are buying exposure. The entire bond market is being transformed as we talk right now. I believe the next generation for markets, the next generation for securities will be tokenization of securities. And if we can have that distributed ledger that we know every beneficial owner, every beneficial seller, we all have our code of who's buying, who's selling, instantaneous settlement. And think about it, it changes the whole ecosystem.
Chinese bank ICBC has been hit by a ransomware attack, and the U.S. Treasury market, as a result of that, has been disrupted. This, according to the Financial Times. We're getting it more right now with Bloomberg's Sonali Basak. Sonali, what do we know?
Listen, we have the Financial Times now reporting that ICBC, one of China's largest banks here, was hit with a ransomware attack. And remember, they're a very significant intermediary in the Treasury market. The SIFMA has told its members that this has been part of the reason here that the system is kind of clogged up, if you will, during that auction that we saw a little bit before. The attack had prevented ICBC, according to the Financial Times, from settling Treasury trades on behalf of other market participants. A large executive at a major bank also telling the paper that such a large party on the fixed income clearing corp creates major concerns, potentially impacting the liquidity of Treasury markets. Now,
it was not just a poor auction. It was absolutely lousy, and when the dealers have to step in to save a Treasury auction, that's a rare occurrence. And
Crypto Teacher and the New World Order book, plus the 3 Kids books. It's time to re-educate. Also, new to cryptos, Coinbase, BitChute, Binance. Do not forget book links and crypto links are in the description. The stock channel, guys. Don't forget to go like, subscribe, spread everywhere. You have your Kobo, your chip stocks, your banking, your gaming. While everybody's sitting at home, get home stocks, the Seaver, the biotech stocks. And while everybody's at home wishing, they were still getting that free money. What are they doing? Drinking and smoking weed. Don't forget about those stocks, and you have a wonderful day. The most powerful person in the world is the storyteller. The storyteller sets the vision, values, and agenda of an entire generation to come. Steve Jobs. And guys, I truly believe in this. When you look at the New World Order, they're the storytellers. And that's the reason why I wrote my New World Order book. But guys, now it's time to change the current generation. And I wrote 3 kids books. I love the Trinity because I understand the power that's in it. So I have 3 books. We have an opportunity to change the generation, to educate, not just me, but I want to show you that I take action on a daily basis. And I want you to take action on a daily basis. Whether it's your job, whether it's in your community, we have an opportunity right now to educate the masses. I posted this on my Twitter account. Please share, but this is a short clip of the 3 books. There's going to be a clothing line and action figures. Please get these books for your kids, nephews, cousins, friends, so therefore we can start the re-education now. Because as we see, the 4th Industrial Revolution foundation is definitely here. Robots, algorithms, drones, taking humanity out the picture. We have to re-educate. But let's get into the video.
Part 1. King Joshua and Drama Team save the village. Part 2. King Joshua and Drama Team save New York. COVID-33. Part 3. King Joshua and Drama Team goes to China.
It's mandatory to get part 1, part 2, and part 3 of this series. It's time to re-educate Generation Z.